Happy New Year. You are officially listening to the first podcast of 2016 for the MyT Sports Minute. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the MyT Sports Minute. I am your host, Talon T. Taylor. It is January 9th. It's in the middle of the afternoon. It's a Saturday. It's already in the mid to high 80s here in South Florida. But you know what I say? Regardless of the time, regardless of the weather, it's always a good time to talk some sports. So let's start talking. Man, do we have some stuff to talk about it. As like I said, Happy New Year. Welcome back. I know it's a little behind schedule, but we have to change pace a little bit. Change is good for everybody. As he said, with us doing a transition from football to basketball season, yes, your regularly scheduled program isn't going to be on this regularly schedule that you're used to. So expect a couple of more Saturday shows. Expect some mini MyT morsels coming on Tuesdays. But let's just get right into it. Like, number one thing I want to do before we start, we're going to pay homage and respect to one of the greats, Charles Woodson, as he officially plays what is his last. Well, he has officially played his last game of his career. And it's really funny. Now, for a guy that's a defensive lover, and fans of guys like Deion Sanders, and guys currently like Richard Sherman, and to have a guy like Darrelle Revis on my team, I'm gonna have to say that Charles Woodson went, and trust me, I'm saying all this from a place of respect, but he kind of went unnoticeable. Like, to me, it was a very unnoticeable career. Like, it wasn't flashy, it wasn't flamboyant, it was just efficient, and that's what and so when I say unnoticeable, like, you didn't notice him until he did something on the field that was amazing, and then you heard the name Charles Woodson. It was never a backstory. There was never some sideline shenanigans. It was just Charles Woodson making another great play. Charles Woodson shutting down a receiver. Charles Woodson taking one to the house. And after that, it was no news about Charles Woodson. And then you just have to kind of remind yourself every once in a while, like, you know what, Charles Woodson is still playing. Like, how many times over the last probably 7 years have you had to remind yourself, oh wow, that's right, Charles Woodson still in the league? Like I said, not disrespectful, it's just that he just goes about his business. To be one of the greatest in his position, he goes about his business so quietly that it's almost unnoticeable. But we see you, and yeah, we have to applaud your career because you deserve it. Charles Woodson, everybody, retiring, cornerback, Oakland Raiders. But talking about long-time standings with a team and no longer having it, is Coughlin's firing? Is that going to mean that the Giants culture is now going to be in the coffin? Like I ask you, listen, things have started getting out of hand, JPP, lately with the Giants. And you've had some people that have done some things that you can call some bonehead mistakes. And we're still going to watch out for ODB or ODP, Old Dirty Player, to see if he decides to go on the straight and narrow. But what's gonna go on in New York for the Giants at least? Because if you can't bring in a weak coach, and when I mean a weak coach, you definitely can't bring in a weak-minded coach. Like, put it this way, we're not getting Chip. I shouldn't say weak, and I said weak because I'm talking about New York, right? Anytime I talk about New York, I go in this we mentality. But you're not just gonna get any old person in there. No, you're gonna have to get a coach that the players will listen to, a coach that can handle the bright lights of New York, a coach that can handle the personalities of the players that he currently has, and a coach that's ready to win now. Because we all know that's what New York wants to do. New York wants to win now. New York is impatient. We saw that even after 2 championships, every single year that they didn't win one, you kept on wondering, should Coughlin be fired? Should Coughlin be fired? Should Coughlin be fired? Well, guess what, Giants fans? Coughlin is finally fired. Let's see what your next coach does. Let's see who your next coach is. And let's see how long it takes for you to be begging to have Coughlin back. Like, you know what? I'm not rooting for you guys to do bad. Let me not make that seem like that's what's coming across here. I hope that you don't complain and say, "Oh, we wish we had Coughlin," because you do need something to try to start gearing this offense into the new style of NFL that has taken over this whole entire league. Like, it's time for them to morph. It's time for them to transform. It's time for them to move on. Talking about transforming and moving on, I find it interesting that our boy, just one of the greatest wide receivers in the league, Megatron, is looking for a new home. And you have to think, like, this opens up all kinds of possibilities because, not for nothing, like, I think just in the division, he can go to Green Bay. And him and Aaron Rodgers, I would assume that him and Aaron Rodgers would be the equivalent to Tom Brady getting Randy Moss. It would that's just what I picture, especially with Jordan Nelson coming back and anybody else that they decide to have as receivers, because you know that that Aaron Rodgers can just fling the ball like my blood clot ball flinger. Ball flinger. Yeah, my flinger the ball. Alright, so man, so even think about this. Him going to the Giants, teaming up with Odell Beckham and Eli Manning. Him going to the Jets, teaming up with Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker. You understand that if he honestly becomes a free agent, he will be one of the most sought after free agents. I'm not even gonna just put it to his position. One of the most sought after free agents in NFL history, Megatron. Oh man, it's gonna be interesting to see where Megatron goes. But these games took a toll on me this week, and you wonder fast. And you know what? I can say that. I can't say it really took a toll on me. Like, the Patriots stumbled. Like, that I didn't quite see happening. Like, the Patriots losing that last game to Miami. Like even as a division game, I didn't see that coming. But the Jets losing to Buffalo? Not surprised. See? Told you. Ha. Told you last week, or 2 weeks ago. I don't know how long ago I said it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets lost this game and didn't make the playoffs, and I wouldn't be upset if the Jets lost this game and didn't make the playoffs. This Jets team has this particular Jets team that we're looking at that can be added to more than it could be subtracted from. You understand? Because you can't get rid of Darrelle Revis, right? And I know you don't want to get rid of Cromartie, but you may look at him as a commodity, you know? You don't want to get rid of Eric Decker. You don't want to get rid of Brandon Marshall. You don't want to get rid of... See, and you don't want to get rid of anybody in the running game unless you upgrade it. See? So, right now, this Jets team has a core Listen, this core may only last 3 years, right? And that's including this year. So we're talking about 2 more years going on. You understand? But you have a core that could be added to and built upon, right? And even made better and even upgraded in certain positions. So I'm not upset too much that the Jets didn't make the playoffs. Because I'm hoping that this motivation or this loss, once again, as I said before, that this loss acts as motivation for that core group of players to come back and realize that you can't lose these games against Buffalo. You can't lose those games against Houston when you're rolling. You understand? You can't lose against... Yes, you beat a lot of teams that you should have beat, but you also lost to a lot of teams that you shouldn't have lost to. And hopefully they realize that you can't drop and go 10-6. No. You still got Tom Brady and Bill Belichick up there in New England. Yes, I say up there because they are not also upstate and up in the rankings. You still have them to chase, and you still have them to beat. And until you can get past them, then yeah, losing games that you shouldn't lose should not be acceptable. Listen, they can afford to lose to Miami. They've already clinched the bye in the playoffs. You understand? They already clinched the playoffs. They've already solidified their spot for where they need and want to be. Granted, everything's not going to go through them, but they also figure if they have to go play Denver because it comes down between the 1 and 2, now they could run through Denver. Listen, they're not stupid in there. And so, yeah, I'm interested to see, like, this makes this offseason very interesting for me from the Jets. I want to see what they do in free agency, who they re-sign, who they sign. I want to see how they add I want to see who they add to the play, from the draft. Like, there's so much room for growth with this particular team because they finally do have a core in almost every single position. A number 1 wide receiver. You understand? Center, defensive end, cornerback, tight end, and we still need help at the tight end position. See? Like, we still got Jason Maru. Or we still could get a flat-out better tight end. We could still add a pass rusher. We could still add a better cornerback. We can still possibly upgrade at quarterback, but to be honest with you, unless you can obviously upgrade at quarterback, flat-out upgrade, I'm not getting rid of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, listen, let him find some motivation and come in here and try to and win some games. Knowing that now, listen, that your first year was kind of a pass, was like an aw shucks kind of thing. You got a job that kind of you won situationally, but you can still do better and prove that you're the guy. Because listen, man, when he's rolling and he's winning, man, you see it in him. You see it oozing out of his body, the machismo. You understand, like the bearded magic one that he is. When it's not, like, it's horrible. And he's not the guy that's gonna win the games tossing the ball around, which I think that everybody in the NFL has learned. Like, but when that running game is on point and he has a lead, he's damn near unstoppable. And he's come back a lot of games. Like, people said, like, oh, Fitzpatrick did what Fitzpatrick does. But Fitzpatrick did what Fitzpatrick doesn't do, and he won a lot of games on comeback drives. So I don't want to hear the knock on him this year. Like, that's not where I want to hear the knock on. The knock is, as a team, it was on the team as a whole. Not showing up for games that they should have showed up for. Not starting out as strong as they should have showed up for. If you want to ask me about individual awards, like, or individual grades for the Jets, a lot of people are going to get a lot of B's and a lot of A's for me because they really outdid themselves. You understand? They were above average. They played really great game. It's just that the Jets as a team this season, as much as they upgraded, they didn't come out as well as they should have. And as well as because when they've played well, you've seen who they are. They are a formidable team. More than formidable. Like I said, they're 10-6 and not making that playoff. Sorry, 9-7. I apologize. Keep forgetting they lost that last game. So, Jets, man, they'll come back next year, and we'll see exactly what that means for them. But so that means just now, what we actually get to do is that now we just have the playoffs, because the thing the Jets miss is what everybody has been chasing for, or at least chasing to get to. I said New England and Denver, they've already locked up the number 1 and 2 spots, and they have the bye week in case you just don't know where things are at right now. And by the time this actually comes out to you and the world, I'm pretty sure the wild card game should be going on for Saturday. So we have Kansas City, Houston, right? We have Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and that's the AFC wild card games. And we have Green Bay, Washington, Seattle, and Minnesota. And this is where things get just a little bit interesting to me. Like, I can't take anything away from what Kansas City is doing. And Kansas City, I think, is going to continue to roll. And now it depends on who Kansas City plays, because New England gets the higher seed of the wild card, right? So whoever the better team is who they get. So let's say Pittsburgh happens to take out Cincinnati. You know, the same Cincinnati that is known for not playing well when the lights come on. Pittsburgh can play them. Can beat them and go on to take on Denver. Like I said, I believe Kansas City is going to roll right past Houston. They're on a 10-game winning streak. I don't see them slowing down. I'm not going to bet against that. But Pittsburgh has enough injuries to make me wonder if they can overcome it in this wild card game against Cincinnati, a divisional game, which is always tough. Division rivals. So if Cincinnati wins, then they go on to play Denver. And Kansas City goes on to play New England instead of Kansas City playing Denver. And I just think that Kansas City... Let's just put it this way. Let's put it this way. I honestly believe that Cincinnati is going to take care of their business. I think Pittsburgh may just have one too many injuries. And I don't even want to go against... And just trust me when I say, in this particular case, I really do not want to go against Pittsburgh. Because I do not trust Cincinnati. It's just that Pittsburgh has way too many injuries for me to ignore. And if Cincinnati is going to be playing all of their starters and the guys that took them here and drove them here and got them to the show, then I see them getting this one to move on, finally. Now, the bad thing about that is that when they play New England, Cincinnati is going to lose there. Just like, that's like if they play Denver, they were going to lose there. So, since the only one who could have played is New England based off my scenario. Then, now we have Kansas City. Like I said, I don't see Pittsburgh winning, so I don't see Kansas City going through Denver. So that means that I do have Kansas City going through Denver. What am I saying? I didn't see them, and I have them. All right, I have Kansas City oddly, and I'm gonna change, and this may have to get changed as time goes on. I think Kansas City can make it to the finals, can make it to the Super Bowl. I think Andy Reid finally gets his. I see them going through Cincinnati when they play. I see them going through Houston, and then I see them going through Denver, as we don't know what Peyton Manning's gonna be yet. And with this being Peyton Manning's first game back, and I think Kansas City just clicking just a little bit more, maintaining that momentum, you catch Peyton Manning at the right time, and there you have it. Kansas City is facing New England. And New England has enough injuries to me for them to get past Cincinnati. Because Cincinnati just isn't going to know what to do with themselves at this point in time. And see, while I think that Cincinnati is going to have enough to beat their division rival to come through when the lights are on, I don't think they're going to have enough to go against to beat New England when the lights are on. And so we get a matchup of New England versus Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, and Kansas City moving on. Now, the NFC is completely a different story for me. Because I have almost no clue where I wanted to go with this one. And because of that, I figured that I'll do that pick here, live on the show, because I have no clue what I was going to get out of this NFC. Because there's so many different variables to consider. we have Green Bay versus Washington and Seattle versus Minnesota. And as much as I want to see, let me just start this off. As much as I do like Seattle, I do. I enjoy watching them play. Something about that group of guys they just play an enjoyable brand of football to me. You know, from the quarterback to the cornerbacks to the talking to the running backs. You know, they play exciting ball. But I kind of want to see Minnesota ride this out for as far as they can. Unfortunately, I don't know how far that is. They play Seattle, and I think that right there is going to be their demise. But Seattle has to come play in Minnesota. Man, sorry, this is so tough. I really want Minnesota to win. Like, I want Teddy Bridgewater and Adrian Peterson to keep taking steps forward, because I would like to see them in a Super Bowl with Adrian Peterson within the next year or two. Like, I would like to see Adrian Peterson in a Super Bowl within the next 2 years. You know, so, and he doesn't have much time left. That's also like this year and then 2 years after this. I'd like to see Adrian Peterson, so I would like to see the growth of Teddy Bridgewater and that offense. Washington has been on a roll, and Green Bay has just been falling and falling and falling. And I still don't know if I trust Washington more than I trust untrustworthy Green Bay. You know, like, I told you Washington was gonna. I told you a couple weeks ago that Washington was gonna win that. I told you weeks ago Washington was gonna win that division because Washington was the most stable team out of all of them. They had the most consistency, surprisingly. But I still wonder, can Washington continue this? See, and this is the only way this works to me. If Minnesota gets past Seattle and Washington gets past Green Bay, and you know what? To be honest with you, and this is why I say, like, I don't know how far this is going to go. I don't think anybody's beating Arizona or Carolina. I think, like, they're 1 and 2s or true 1 and 2s. Unlike the AFC, where I think that both 1 and 2s can be beaten, I don't think that's possible between Arizona and Carolina. I think those two teams are that good and can rise up to the moment that well. Now, Carolina, I fear a little. I really do. I don't know if they'll. I don't know. Put it this way: when they play Arizona, I think they're gonna lose. When they play I think when they play their next strong defensive matchup, they're going to lose. So, with Arizona, in this case, getting the higher seeded team, if Washington wins and Minnesota wins, right, then they can play Minnesota, and I'm like, okay, Carolina should take that one. But if they play Seattle, or if they play Green, see, and I guess in this case it would only be Seattle, because Arizona's gonna get Seattle anyhow. Seattle advances. So am I thinking that Green Bay, Washington, or Minnesota can beat Carolina? And that's a negative. I don't think Seattle could beat Arizona. So, like, does it even matter who I have coming out for Green Bay and Washington at this point? Like, I think Green Bay's gonna keep falling. Like, oh God, I don't trust them that well. I think Green Bay's gonna keep falling. Washington holds one at home, and Kirk Cousins gonna ask the whole entire world one more time, "Do you like that?" just to get his butt kicked by Arizona or Carolina, whoever it is. Okay, let's say it's officially. They're going to get their butt whipped by Arizona because Minnesota's going to find a way in that freezing cold. See, that freezing cold and that defense. See, but Adrian Peterson is an attacking running back. So he's going to hit them just as much as they're hitting him. And he's a little bit more used to their brand of cold than Seattle's used to their brand of that brand of cold. So I'm going to take Minnesota to come away with that game. Oddly enough, even though Seattle's rolling, Seattle's on fire, man. Seattle's just so much on fire. So Alrighty, here it goes. I love Minnesota. I see. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. Don't make me say it. And I told you this is tough. Like, I wholeheartedly believe Washington's going to beat Green Bay. That's not where my problem lies. My problem lies in Seattle and Minnesota. I know. Okay. Here we go. In 3, in 2, in 1. You know what? I apologize. I can't make up my mind. So we're going to go to a commercial break, and I'm going to give you my pick after these commercials.
Then head down to MultiVest Games and get the value you deserve. MultiVest. Find them at 830 183rd Street, Miami Gardens, Florida, 33169. Located just 5 minutes from Tootsie's and Sun Life Stadium in the plaza, across from Snappers. MultiVest Games. Save more, play more.
So, welcome back. I just needed a moment just to take it away for a second. I'm gonna go with what I wrote down on the paper. So it's gonna be Minnesota and it's gonna be Washington. Minnesota's gonna lose to Arizona. Washington will lose to Carolina. We'll see Arizona and Carolina play, and then we'll see Arizona give Carolina their second loss of the season. So as much as I wanted to, I told you a couple weeks ago I wanted to see Carolina win. I also wanted to see Carolina win undefeated. Now reality comes in, because if they were undefeated, I didn't see even how Arizona can beat them. I still don't know if there's still going to be that team that continues rolling. I guess it may depend on how well I see them play against. How well I see them play against Washington, and Washington got weapons too. I told you, like, Washington's passing game is starting to step up again. I believe Alfred Morris has become a top 5 running back again. So it's gonna be how well I see them play in Washington, and then I just believe that Arizona isn't gonna fall to them again this season. I believe they played them this season. Can't remember. And this matchup, as Carson Palmer has been lights out too. And then we're gonna have a Kansas City and Arizona Super Bowl. And I'll leave it there for you. What do you want to pick? I got Arizona winning. There's just way too many things in Arizona that I like, that I would like to see win. I want to see Andy Reid, Larry Fitzgerald, Carson Palmer. You know, I would like to see Patrick Peterson. There's way too many pieces in Arizona. I would love to see win a ring. So the Honey Badger, even though he's out for the season. Talking about being out for the season, and maybe not out for the season, but just being out. I don't know if you guys, like, last week, right? As soon as the weekend started, I remember hearing that Kobe was out. Like, Kobe's back now, but he had to sit out a couple of games because he had a sore shoulder, I believe, or something like that. And am I the only cynic that thought that his sore shoulder has got to be from those 3 dunks that he ended up doing over the last week, on top of the 8 billion shots that he's taken this season? Because, you know, like, Kobe is the only, like, 800 trillion, you know, shot attempt person in the league ever. Like, man, this guy has shot shots. I'm poking fun. I'm a fan of Kobe. I like him, but hey, I'm gonna take my shots when I see him, and his shoulder hurting. As I talk, my shoulder starts to ache oddly. See, that's karma, pure karma. But then, not only that, like, so we get Kobe out, and then I turn over and I watch this Philly and Minnesota game, and as I go through a couple of these, is also going to be about the games that I wanted you guys to watch this week. And that's the reason why I said that if you start paying attention now on Tuesdays, I'm going to come up with a new mini show. And that mini show is just going to be, it's just going to be a quick highlight all over the power rankings and the current rankings and the games that we're going to watch. So that when you get this again next Saturday, then we would have watched the majority of the games like we have this week. Because there's only 2 games that I need to watch this week. I've watched almost everything out there. And when I tell you, like, the NBA is as exciting as it has ever been. They're talking about Philly versus Minnesota. I want to definitely catch this game. As you know, I watch Philly because they're the worst team in the league. So I watch the bottom 3 in the power rankings. You can't just always watch the best. You have to see if the bottom can grow too. And I definitely wanted to see that young talent versus young talent. I wasn't disappointed. But what caught my eye more than anything else was Ish Smith. As he danced and pranced and romanced himself into my heart that game. Yeah, he did. That was Ish Smith. He did that. That man, my ball. But more than anything, it made me think. Is Ish Smith, as far as a win-loss percentage goes, becoming more valuable to his team than Kobe is for the Lakers? Tell you, man, I'm comparing a lot of things this and Kobe is last year. Kobe isn't just allowed to bow out. Like, I understand you guys like love Kobe as much as you guys love Kobe, you know, and you guys are the ones that are now probably like up in an uproar or in an uproar about what I'm saying about Kobe. But Kobe's not allowed to just bow out and get an pass of his last season and is allowed to be horrible. No. Kobe needs to teach his players what good, smart shots look like. Because if not, what he's going to do is that he's going to breed a next Laker generation full of guys that all need 30 shots to get 30 points. And there isn't that enough shots to go around. So he needs to start teaching them how to look for good shots, how to get their shots, how to get open shots. Be a mentor. Teach them how to handle themselves on the court and off the court. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten in Nick Young's head more than he has. Maybe this last year, maybe he can. But Kobe needs to be a lot more than just the main attraction for the Lakers this season while they do nothing. No, he needs to be a teacher. He needs to be a mentor. He needs to be a leader. Still, more so than ever, because this is his last year, and he has at this point in time, more than any other time in his career, a group of young guys that can carry on the Laker name and legacy. But he needs to help teach them what that means. So yeah, this current time, I think that win-loss percentage-wise, Ish Smith at that point position for Philly is a more valuable player than Kobe is for the Lakers currently right now. And talking about value in young players, have y'all seen PK? Yeah, I call him PK. Kristaps Porzingis, or Porzingis Kristaps. But I'm calling him PK now. Y'all see him, get a little bit brolic? Have y'all been seeing him lately step in the faces of the people that need their face stepped in? Yeah. Yeah. Like Chris Bosh and Whiteside, they thought they were all big and bad, mean mugging him down. Every time, they get out a nice little dunk, Knicks came away with the W. It's all right. And when it really mattered and you step up to him, like man to man, face to face, chest to chest, oh no, he came and he looked down at you, towered over. It was like, that's my pipe. That's my bike, punk. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, these games have been incredible. I said I was in New York versus Miami game. This happened 8-1. Let's just put it that way. Like they looked impressive and they've been looking impressive, for some time now. And even versus San Antonio, they look decent. But they still have some work to do. And they've come out of this. Remember I told you a couple weeks ago that they were going to start a stretch of games where they were playing about 11 teams or so like that with an above 500 record. So those teams remained above 500, and they came away with that with a 50% record. They came out of there about 500, which is what I said I hope they would, because if they came out of those 11 games like 3-8, then our playoff hopes I think would have been shattered. Like they would have been degraded as a team, demoralized as a team. So I guess is where I'm more looking for, and that is something that we as fans, nor the Knicks as players, could have afforded to have happened. So the fact that they came out of that just about 500, probably around 40-something% or whatever, that's okay, because it means that they fought every game. They won a couple of games that they should, lost probably a couple of games that they shouldn't, won a couple of games that they probably shouldn't, stayed close, and they stayed competitive, and that's probably the biggest thing. As the Knicks have already won more games this year than they have last year, we realize more than anything that they just stayed competitive. And that competitiveness, equals wins. Equals wins in some games where teams just aren't ready to come and play at a high energetic level, because the Knicks are generally always bringing the necessary energy to play. And it seems also that Derek Fisher has just about found what rotation he's going to use. And I think, and I always tell people this, and like I had Knicks fans of mine, Knicks fan friends of mine, that couldn't get past the fact that Derrick Rose was utilizing as many different roster changes that he was using. And he said, who else, and my question, who else does this kind of thing? Golden State does that kind of thing for one. But I'm not saying that we have Golden State kind of talent. I'm just saying that they do. But also what I told him is that, listen, people had time to step up and show that they deserved a role or not. Listen, like Aaron Afalo was out for a while. When Aaron Afalo was out, every single person was given an opportunity to show if they should be that person that was deserving of minutes and playing time once he came back. Now, since then, you can't deny that, yeah, we probably lost some games because he couldn't figure out what kind of rosters to use at times as well. But you see it coming together now as he's benched people that he felt like he didn't get consistent play or energy from. And while they were fan favorites, like, he did certain little things to humble them. And now that he's given them a second opportunity, you see the level and consistency that they're now providing for the team. So yeah, it was excruciating to watch for some fans, and I'm over here sitting patiently like, listen, you have to give some people time to do their job. Like, these things aren't done overnight. Like, the patience has to be there, and obviously, I get when I say that, I get thrown back on me that, hey, I asked for patience with Geno Smith and Mark Sanchez. But those guys never had efficient tools. Like, I'm sorry, Mark Sanchez, when he had a roster similar to the one that the Jets have right now, they went to 2 AFC championship games. Back to back. Think about it. When he had 2 receivers, right? Well, or let me say, multiple receivers, plus a good running game. And remember, at the time we had LaDainian Tomlinson, so LaDainian Tomlinson himself added as an extra receiver. You know what I mean, for the running game. Plus he can block. Plus he was a veteran to help out the young quarterback. We had wide receivers like Brandon Marshall and Santonio Holmes that every time they went downfield, they were either catching it for 30 yards or they were drawing a pass interference penalty to have the chains moved. And then we had a star defense. Darrelle Revis picking off people left and right, stopping, shutting down players. And you know what? I let me back up for half a second as I go on this tirade and talk about Darrelle Revis. And I know I didn't talk about it when I talked about the cornerbacks I love, and also the Jets. Darrelle Revis completely played out of character last week, and And I'm going to tell you right now, that's part of the reason why the Jets lost. In fact, the biggest reason why the Jets lost. As I get to the game a little bit late, and I see that the game's kind of close, and I'm looking at the game, and I'm realizing that there's no Revis Island going on out there. Like, there's a Revis Peninsula, and not only is there a Revis Peninsula, but somehow Darrell Revis has given Sammy Watkins his own personal ferry to the goddamn island. And it was very apparent very quickly because me and my boy is talking about it because he's the Bills fan. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. It's like, I'm like Sammy Watkins is like Darrell Revis, normally is jams his receivers. He's like, and my homeboy says automatically to me like, yeah, he hasn't been jamming. He's been letting him get everything underneath, and that's probably because the Jets never helped, never gave him safety love. Like they literally left him on an island. Didn't provide one safety. Didn't do anything else but say, hey, cover Sammy Watkins, and they let him dunk him to death, which can kill the Jets, and has been proven can kill the Jets because Tom Brady kills the Jets that way. He has dinked and dunked us to death every single time, even when we've had good defenses. So, man, I don't know what happened that game, but yeah, let's move back to what we were talking about, which, to be honest with you, I don't know what we were talking about anymore. Listen, it's not my fault. It's you guys' fault. So, we're just going to move right into the next set of games. And I saw Kyrie Irving come back. Like, listen, if that Cleveland-Toronto game was the sign that Kyrie Irving is back on his A game, then Cleveland's gonna be dangerous. Now, see, the thing about it is that can Kyrie Irving stay healthy? Because I'm gonna tell you something. There is something to being injury prone that I'm starting to realize kind of sucks. That regardless of what you do to come back and how many times you re-strengthen your body, something is going to eventually break down on it that is vital to you being physically successful the way you want to be. And I wonder if Kyrie Irving falls into that group. Because he's playing well now, and with the things that he does and the way that he contorts his body, there's no wonder that there are things, because like even when you watch him, like he looks more of even like a more power dribbling and a finesse dribbler like Steph is. So his contortions look like they have torque, while Steph Curry's contortions look like they're fluid with finesse. Kind of like I get worried about LeBron at times, and I wonder how long his body's gonna hold up because he has a lot of torque in motions as well. And that torque, listen, while that torque is spectacular, and to be able to go to where you're putting in that torque in certain areas, then listen, all torque does to the body is beat it down. But Kyrie Irving showed me something. But talking about beating them down, random question. Since Floyd Mayweather has retired, has anything interesting happened in boxing? I'm just saying, you leave it out there. And if you say yes, was it something Floyd related? So I wrote that question down. I have to wonder. I mean, Tyson breaks his back. I mean, really, is there any boxing? I mean, is anything interested, outside of Money Mayweather, related, outside of Tyson breaking his back? Because I would like to know. Like the way this man was knocked for so long. Like, listen, at least he kept us talking about the sport. I don't see any reason to talk about boxing lately. Oh, because Pacquiao and Bradley? Like, I don't know if I'm really that impressed. So, as we move on, all right, and I want to tell you about all the games that we wanted to catch this week, or that I wanted to catch this week. We had the Golden State and Portland game we wanted to catch as the power rankings didn't take a major shift, but there was a huge jump in and out of the power rankings. It's Golden State, San Antonio took over the number 1 spot from Golden State. Golden State slid down to number 2. Oklahoma City has maintained at number 3, and they have been a really interesting team to watch. As I caught their game versus Memphis because you know how they play Memphis. Memphis is just them and Memphis have a little bit of history together. There's a little rivalry going on there, but for the first quarter, it was pretty much even game. But you saw very quickly, Oklahoma City was coming out doing what they do, flying by defenders, attacking the rim and getting their finesse on. And you even see Memphis do what they wanted to do. They were slowing the ball down, getting the ball in the post, rotating the ball, getting mid-range shots, and kind of grinding it out. Second quarter, lead started to grow. Third quarter, fourth quarter, next you know, it's over. It's kind of the same thing with Golden State and Portland. Like that point guard matchup, I kind of watched it for the point guard matchup initially, and I barely got a chance to focus on Damian Lillard or even notice Damian Lillard because what that Golden State does, I can't even just say the splash, but what Golden State does as a whole is freaking phenomenal. Like Gerald Green, gets another triple-double. Stephen Curry, barely plays in the fourth quarter. I'm seeing Klay Thompson just catch the ball and just shoot and just easily in your eye. Like those ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. So we caught Golden State and Portland. Golden State mashed them out. Caught San Antonio Spurs and the Knicks. Wanted to see how San Antonio fared up against the, Tim Duncan fared up against the young rookie. Watched Cleveland and Toronto. Like I said, that's when I saw Kyrie Irving, come back and play like I said, that was Uncle Drew on the court. That wasn't Kyrie Irving. He had some Uncle Drew in there. Chicago, Atlanta. That's gonna come up a little bit later, so we gotta have to watch that later today. Miami and New York. I saw New York impress me, and I'm sorry, I am actually not even gonna watch Chicago and Atlanta. I am watching Clippers and New Orleans, and that's probably the big change I wanted to talk about in the top 5 for the power rankings. And this segment is actually brought to you by MultiVest Games. Remember, MultiVest, play more, save more. You can catch them at 7th Avenue, 183rd and 7th. It's down the street from Tootsie's, 5 minutes away from Dolphin Stadium. It's a video game store. This place is amazing. You save on the trade-ins more than you can save anywhere else. Like if you've ever once complained about being ripped off by Golden Crust, by GameStop, then you need to head down to MultiVest Games because, listen, you know it's a family business when you see their prices. So San Antonio maintains at number 1. Takes over number 1. Golden State falls to number 2. Oklahoma City's is in the 3rd spot, and Cleveland stays at the 4th. So I even find that interesting as OKC and Cleveland continue to battle for that 3 and 4, and they're gonna toss that back and forth, practically all season long. But the most important part was the Clippers jumping in from number 16 to move up to number 5. And so, as I'm watching them now, I'm gonna see if I can watch and see how they look against Mr. Unibrow, and the Pelicans in New Orleans. That's also gonna be later today. Miami, like I said, we watched them take on the Knicks. New York, same thing there. I wanted to see how the young Porzingis was going to do against San Antonio. I want to see how New York was going to do against San Antonio, period. San Antonio is one of the best teams in the league. So the fact that they played them to a 1-point game, that That is gonna stand with me. I hope they continue to take this with them and find a way to rack off 7-8 wins at one time this season. They need to. They can't follow it with racking off 7-8 losses or 6 losses, 1 win, and then 2 more losses. No, because then you would just put yourself right back in the 500 position. I want to see them rack off like 7-8 losses and then take a loss possibly, and then get like another 3, take a loss, get like another 2, take a loss, get another 3, and start finding a winning pace. Bottom 3 teams take a shift too, as Lakers are now the 28th team, 76ers are the 29th team, and the Phoenix Suns end up being the worst team in the league. And it's no wonder why the Morris twins wants to get himself out of there, because that place isn't what it used to be. And I'm kind of curious of what the disconnection is. I gotta pay attention to the team and see, and I get a chance this week. When I get to watch them play Miami, and see what the team makeup is, see what their chemistry looks like, and kind of really see how they play. Because I thought Phoenix was right there a year or so ago. Now it seems like they're getting further from there as there can be. So we're gonna take a peek in at excuse me. We're gonna take a peek in at them and see what exactly is holding them back. It's keeping them from winning. It's stopping their growth. 76ers we're gonna watch play Cleveland, and Lakers and Sacramento. Maybe even Utah, I'm thinking. And I know I could watch them play OKC. I'm not too interested in that game. I want to see them play young talent. It's like there's a Detroit game coming on later, right? And I kind of wanted to watch that game, but that's when I thought that Brooklyn was still in the bottom 3 for the power rankings. No, Brooklyn moved themselves up, and they're no longer there. And you know what? I think it's about that time that we take another break for you guys. Stick around. Next segment, we're going to talk about some interesting events that I went to. Some wonderful kids that I met that hopefully that can become some all-stars in the future. We're gonna keep it yeah, child related in a way. We're also gonna talk some college football, and think about this while I'm on break. What was the first player that you mimicked their baseball stance and swing? That and more on the Mighty Sportsman in a minute.
Become famous. They join because there is important work to be done, and only some able to do it. They are brighter, better educated, led, and equipped than any team in history. They are doctors, lawyers, engineers, technologists, and combat troops, all prepared for whatever comes their way. You'll find them where the lights don't flash, and the only contract they sign is with themselves and their country. One day, they may be asked what they did to make a difference in this world, and they can respond, "I became a soldier."
And we are back. Welcome. This is Talent T Taylor with the MyT Sports Minute. Thank you guys for continuing to listen. Up next, we are going to talk about these college football playoffs. As obviously, I was completely wrong about who I thought was going to make it. In a way, where I thought that Oklahoma was going to have enough to beat Clemson. And they didn't. And I told you, I don't know much about college football. I picked Oklahoma because I have a homegirl, like one of my best friends. She's a fan of theirs, and Oklahoma has a pretty good cry, Boomer Sumas, and it isn't better than roll. Yeah, that voice cracked in the middle there. It's not better than that. So, this is the thing. Like, this is like the coach that you always hear about, the Nick Saban Alabama program, versus the coach that you always hear about now with the new program, dancing it up, doing the prize shuffle or whatever, his little shuffle, doing the little prize little money dance. You understand? Dabbing it up all over the place. Like everywhere. Like you're seeing him, and you can't get enough of him. Like he's lovable. He is. Like his character, like his personality is lovable. And yet, I'm gonna take Alabama over Clemson just because Alabama is Alabama, and they roll. No, I'm not gonna do that again. I can hear some guy like, no, not again. He was about to roll. No, I'm not gonna. I promise you. So, I am actually gonna take Alabama over Clemson for the college football playoffs. And we're going to see if it's true or not, if Alabama could finish up the work of Jameis Winston from last year. Sorry, shoot. That was Jameis Winston last year. That's not what I'm talking about. That's Florida State. Crap. I forgot whose work. He was... Alrighty. I have no other reason than to pick Alabama than the fact that I like the Roll Tide. Like, who doesn't like to roll? I'm like, we roll! You know what? Speaking of rolls, you know what? Something odd. Like, I'm an avid listener to Mike and Mike, and all the time I hear, recently I've been hearing Mike and Mike talk about. They have a segment called "The Famer, the Former, and the Fan," and they have joked about switching the name of that show to the Famer, the Famer, the Famer, because these guys have been inducted into in the Hall of Fame of like one of the Writers Guild or something like that, right? Nothing to take away from their accomplishment. It's not what I'm going here. Right? It's the fact that I was curious, right? Before they thought of the name for this show, right? Hadn't Golick, if I'm not mistaken, already been inducted into the Hall of Fame for something, whether it be college or wrestling or something on some level? I could have swore Golick was already inducted into some kind of Hall of Fame. And if that's the case, it shouldn't already have been the Fame of the Fame and the Fan. Like, are they just now changing this because finally, like, Greeny is like, it should really just be still the Fame of the Former and the Fan, because in this spot, in this particular thing, we are talking about from a sports-related standpoint. And I'm sorry, not Golick, but Greeny, you are not a Hall of Famer in the sports world. Physically, that is. Yeah, I mean, like, as far as sports entertainment world, like, you are a Hall of Famer in my eyes all day long, sir. Like, you get my utmost respect. Like, hands down, you, believe it or not, may be this generation's standard. Like, if anybody wants to be successful, they have to learn how to be better than you, and that's very hard to do. Like, from what I hear, and from a person that has, kind of new to doing his, drops and reads and making sure, you hit the post and everything else like that. From what I hear, the bulk of stuff that you have to deal with on a daily basis, on top of the interviews and, yeah, I salute, yeah, I heard you do a fantastic, I would love to sit down with you one day, but let's not get too sidetracked. They want to switch the name of this show to the Fame of the Fame and the Famer. And I just have a problem with this. Like, I think they're just doing it to to feed Greeny's little ego, and you know, it should have been the fame and the famer to begin with. Like he should just be the fan. So obviously, we realize that when you're talking in this section is coming from a football also standpoint, where CC is a Hall of Famer, where Golick is the former, and you are definitely just a fan. Now, speaking of Hall of Famers, can we give it up to Ken Griffey Jr. Woo! He makes it into the Hall of Fame. First ballot pick, 99.7 percentile. And I don't even care about those three people. That's not what we're here to talk about. I'm really just happy that he made it into the Hall of Fame. And listen, Mets fans, I'm not gonna make it sound like cynic. I'm leaving you out. Mike Piazza, yes, he gets it too. But I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about baseball probably being the first sport I fell in love with. Like, the first sport I played was soccer. You know, you from Jamaican, from the islands, like, you kick a ball back and forth, you play soccer. The first sport I fell in love with, the first sport I collected baseball. I collected their cards. I followed the stats. I followed the rankings. I followed the positions. I followed everything. You know, you're talking about the days of Erickson and McGuire and Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey. You know, oddly enough, man, you know, like, just with the Mike Piazzas out there, the Clemens, the Strawberries, you know, and the countless amounts of hitters, the Sosas, the Jeters, and I think about every single time when I walked up to a plate as a kid, even when I played as an adult, and I always thought about, who did I have an example stuck in my head as a bat and swing to emulate? And it's always Ken Griffey Jr. It's been him for 30 years. And it's weird. Like, I close my eyes and I can see it to this day. You know, with the left arm kind of draped all the way across the body, like it's pushing the right hand back. Like it's pushing it all the way back. But at the same time, you saw the tension in the right arm. Like both hands were fighting each other in that direction. As that bat took a little twirl at the top. And then you see him come. Swing. Connect. And follow through. And just grace. And power. And professionalism. Ken Griffey Jr. I would honestly have to say is one of my all-time favorite baseball players, if not just by name and memory alone. I can't tell you if I remember the outcome of most of his games. I can just tell you I remember him hitting. I remember his outfield plays, infield plays, him jumping in the air and tossing, and making spectacular catches and throws. So him getting to the Hall of Fame, I'm not gonna knock. I'm not gonna take from. Can't take from. It's pure money. Talking about money. You guys hear, and I'm not even gonna talk about this long. I'm just gonna bring this up. You hear that Johnny Manziel got dropped by LeBron James? Like LeBron James, like, yeah, I can't deal with this. Like, you are a hot mess. Go back to your daddy money. You just came with me because you wanted to be known. Like he just like, man, Johnny Manziel's a mess. You know what though? Like I said, like I went to a couple of events. I did an event last weekend, and it was the power showcase down at Marlins Park, and it's an event that highlights 12, 13, 14, 15, year olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, and I have to tell you, this power showcase event was phenomenal. Like these kids were amazing. And it felt so weird. Like I said, and it's funny as I told you, like I was reminiscing about Ken Griffey Jr. And I'm thinking to myself, even with this Power Showcase, when is the last time that I stayed awake of a television, watching on television or live in person, through 2 whole entire baseball games? I can't remember the last time that's happened, but I've also never done play-by-play commentary for it either. So I'm thinking like the next time I see a baseball game on television, I may do that and see if I can manage to watch it, because now I'll be forcing myself to watch a baseball game, because it was crazy. It was absolutely bananas. There were these kids that just caught my eye, and I guess the number one kid that caught my eye initially, right out the gate, this kid named Blaze Jordan. Blaze Jordan was my young gunner of the night. This kid was only 13 years old, 5'10", 195 pounds. Hit 34 home runs that evening. You understand that he hit balls completely out of the baseball field. You saying like there were seniors there, 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, power hitter guys that didn't even break double digits. They were getting the same kind of pitch from the pitching machine at speed limits between 50 and 53 miles an hour. And this kid just crushed one after another, after another, after another, until I decided to call him Jay Blaze. like just Blaze? Like his friends don't understand that reference. They didn't get it, but they just thought it was a sick little nickname. But man, all these kids are out here, and they're all doing a home run event, and then after that there is an all-star game that's done between the two upperclassmen teams, or the upperclassmen worth of players split into 2 teams. And even then, like, you see these kids are like, they're sponsoring people. So this kid Jay Blaze, he took on a kid, Joshua Mathis, who was this 14-year-old kid that had, and I hope I pronounce this right, he had a Guillain-Barré syndrome. That basically is a syndrome that attacks the immune and nervous system. So while Jay Blaze is out there playing games, being in the home run event, he's also raising money to help this kid go through, or get through, or pay for medication, pay for treatment, so that he can keep living, get through this immune deficiency that he has. Oh man! Another one that caught my eye was actually a, when I say foreigner, right, it was a foreign pitcher. It was Hirokazu Doi, and Hirokazu Doi had to be one of the smallest guys out there, 5'7", 171 pounds. Yes, at 5'7", 171 pounds. This is definitely one of the smaller guys in his classes. Like when you get to some of the younger classes, you get a couple of like 5'4" guys, here and there. But one of the smallest guys in this period out there. But when I tell you, as a pitcher, this kid had the stuff. In that game, right, in that all-star game that we watched between the upperclassmen, This was basically a 1-point game in the Nationals' favor over the Americans. And Doi came down there and saw 9 pitches, because basically he pitched for 3 innings. Saw 9 pitches, put 9 pitches away. Struck out the first 6, right? And then grounded out the next 3. But those 3 particular innings were so crucial because the first 2 set of pitchers that went up, they're the ones that caused the 4 or 5, point game. The next 2 set, which was Doy and the gentleman and I forgot who he was pitching against. Oh man, they put on a show for 2 innings. That 3rd inning, the guy for the American League just couldn't hold up. Doy for the Nationals held up. And Doy helped put them away and put them down and put one away after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. Next thing you know, his team takes a decisive lead. And that decisive lead is held on to the point where the Renaissance man, Justin Farmer, comes in as the closer and pitches a closing inning. Like, and this kid Justin Farmer, he's another guy that caught my eye because he won the home run. And yes, Just Blaze won the home run contest for his age group, 13U's, right? And Justin Farmer was part of the upperclassmen, and so he won the home run contest for the upperclassmen. And I don't know who got the MVP for that All-Star game, and I really thought it should have went to Doy, but Justin Farmer was just an intricate enough role. He brought in a couple of runs that game. He stole a couple of bases. He played outfield. He played shortstop. He played, you know what I mean? And then, like I said, he pitched the closing inning. And this kid, 2015 underclassman, second team. 2014, he was the freshman. He was the freshman Hillsborough Offensive Player of the Year. He has a pitch that gets up to 90 miles an hour. And was just a phenomenal athlete. But talking about like athletes. There was this kid, Paul Benitez, that played safety. Let's say safety, shortstop. Sorry. Now he played shortstop. 6 foot, 185 pounds, 17 years old, also pitches 89 miles an hour. He has committed to the University of Arkansas. And this game, right? These games were already kind of like steal friendly. But the way that he stole these bases, man, that was probably what caught my eye more than anything, right? Is that every time I looked up and he got on base and he stole straight from first to third to give his batter, you understand, to give his batter, a runner in scoring position easily. All he had to do is just is just drop one into the middle anywhere. And every time he got on base, this is what we saw from him. He even got hit by a pitch. And next thing you know, he came and stole 2 bases. I was like, oh no, he's pissed off. He's going to probably steal a couple of bases. And no doubt he takes off. Paul Benitez, shortstop, committed to University of Arkansas. I'm going to tell you something. I will be watching University of Arkansas games. And I will be looking to see what he does. He also sponsored a kid, Israel Roque. And Israel Roque suffers from retinoblastoma, where it's kind of like a cancer, like that tumorish that gets into your eye. And this kid's already lost his left eye because of it. And what they're trying to do is hopefully do enough work to, what I'm assuming is to save the right eye. So far, Benitez, if what I saw was correct, has raised up to $12,000 for this kid already. So, Benitez, great work, great great kid that you decided to help, and just way to go, man. Like, out of everybody there, Benitez, even personality wise, Benitez caught my eye. Like he was approachable. Like, just really good guy. Overall, really good guy. And you know, like I said, it's really funny. Like I told you earlier, that I can't remember the last time I watched 2 whole baseball games. And I don't even want to say that it was the fact that I was doing a play-by-play. I was literally excited to watch these kids play. And it's really weird that the game that I fell in love with as a kid, is probably the game I watch the least of now. And I don't know where my invested interest out of it came. You know, or really started diminishing. And it makes me wonder, because obviously when I watch these kids play, I'm excited. It's like soccer. When I watch soccer, you know, kids play soccer, I'm interested. You know, like basketball is my number one sport. I don't watch enough college games, but you know what? I'm gonna take that back. College basketball may be the only game that I'm willing to watch high school games on television. I'm willing to watch college games even if they're bad. And I'm watching the college draft. And maybe it's because I do have that interest. I've watched that interest in the kids. At that point in time, what makes me so interested in basketball as a whole, even, you know, outside of just regular love. Because like football, like, but football, I don't like college football. Like, college football, I told you, like, I'm making picks and I have no clue about who's on any of these teams. Like, I'm gonna be lucky if I catch this game on Monday. But you know what though? I am a fan of the college draft, or the NFL draft, I should say. When the NFL draft comes along, I am glued to the combine and everything that gives me information about these kids. You know what? Major League Baseball may not be doing a good enough time with their draft. And maybe that's what it is. Because I don't know how popular college baseball is. Right? But I also know that their draft isn't even... it's not televised. It goes basically unseen. It's done partially through the middle of the season. Like basketball and football, at least like for their draft, like there's a whole televised show. They get you involved in the young people that's coming up. There's a showcase for them. You know, like there's a combine. There's a platform for you to see and get exposed to the set of young players that are coming into the league. And that's something that always gets me excited about the league, is to see what the new talent in the league is going to do in the league. I don't get that from baseball. All I see is baseball is a bunch of guys that have 10-year contracts that are all fat and sassy at 29 years old. You know what I mean? Getting contracts until they're 39, and, you know, baseball with his great unit with his fat-ass umpires. Strike one. Strike two. Yeah, I don't... so... Maybe I need to start. I don't know how I'm gonna get myself interested in baseball more, but I am gonna take this opportunity because I did get invited to do play-by-play for a couple of games, so I'm gonna volunteer to do some in Jupiter, Florida, and also some down in Miami, Florida, and I'm gonna see what I can. I'm gonna see what I can get. I'm also gonna apply for a couple of local places around here, and see what happens. But baseball's gonna have to fix something, because if I can get this excited to watch a bunch of kids I don't know anything about, you know, play a game of baseball that I can barely stand and watch myself, you know, myself play through or to watch on television anymore, then something's got to give. They have to find a way to highlight the young talent that's a little bit more than they are. Like college, I don't think college baseball may be highlighted enough. I don't think their draft is highlighted enough. I don't think anything about baseball, you know, about their prospects and youngness is that I think everybody just knows that there's a bunch of old players, but I think the average baseball league is coming down, but we'll see. We gonna see. Man, thank you guys again for listening. Next week's show we actually gonna talk next week's show We're actually going to talk some fantasy football. We're going to give you a breakdown. This portion is actually going to be a little bit more derived to the fantasy football women's league that I'm going to be started, so I can get some information out to them. And yes, as you heard, this is actually the first official announcement, I believe, that I am going to be having a women's fantasy football league next year. All women. So if you want to join, let me know. Follow me. Get me on my Facebook page. All right, MyT Sports, MYT Sports. And we will get you guys involved. Thank you for listening. I really do appreciate it. You guys, I love it. But listen, it's a beautiful day here in South Florida, and I'm about to go enjoy this 80-degree day.